Hi guys and welcome back to a new video. In today's video I want to talk about Dragonriding. Dragonriding is one of the main features from Dragonflight and definitely one of the things that players love the most. I think if you could ask any players right now who are currently playing Dragonflight if they like Dragonriding, if they like using Dragonriding in the Dragon Isles and moving from one point to another with this new system, I'm pretty sure that probably 99% of the players will say yes, this is a great system, and myself included, I really like the way Dragonriding works and how you are able in just a few minutes to move from one point to another, and just how good it feels when you are actually using Dragonriding on your mount and going super fast into the sky and then going down really fast. So I think this is something that again everyone would agree with. But there are still three main issues, in my opinion, that Blizzard really needs to address if they want the system to remain something that the players love and not something that maybe 1 year from now the players will be mad about. So the first main issue that I see right now with Dragonriding is the lack of diversity. Collecting mounts has been one of the most interesting activity for many players since the creation of World of Warcraft. Collecting a lot of mounts, and especially rare mounts, has always been part of the end game activities of World of Warcraft. And right now, as it is in Dragonflight, unfortunately, you can only really choose 4 different mounts that are the 4 drakes that you will get when you start learning Dragonriding. And then in patch 10.0.5, we only have 3 different specific appearances that you can actually collect. There is first, of course, the Gladiator appearance that is very difficult to get, at least for most players, and that is something that again only a few players will be able to enjoy. Then you have the skin from the last boss of the Vault of the Incarnates raid, but this one is not even crazy because again you can even get it in LFR version of the raid, and so this is not something that is very rare or very unique. And finally you have the one from Rathian, which is pretty cool, but again something that so many players already have. So right now if you go in Valdrakken or anywhere else in the Dragon Isles, you will most likely see the same mounts again and again. And I know you can customize your different mounts. You can add some horns, you can add different colors, you can really try to make something unique. And some players have really been able to make some very interesting mounts. Some have been able to make some very questionable mounts. But still, for some people, it has been great. Still, in my opinion, when I run in Valdrakken, I don't really see these little differences. I just see the 4 same drakes and then sometimes the Gladiator mount, Rathian, or the one from the last boss of the Vault of the Incarnates raid. So really, I feel like this is something that right now feels kind of empty because, for instance, when you go back in Orgrimmar or in Stormwind or anywhere else from previous expansions, you will see people using all their different mounts because some people have been really able to collect so many different mounts, and also a lot of people have worked hard on getting specific mounts that they really like. And the fact that you are not really able to use them in Dragonflight and that there are not really a lot of options for the different Dragonriding mounts is, in my opinion, kind of an issue. Again, it's not something that is really major, but I would say that after probably a few months, people will start being a little bit tired of using the same mount over and over, and also just not being able to use their mounts that they worked hard in order to get them. So for me, Blizzard really needs to start looking into adding more of these specific appearances. For instance, I still don't understand why the Keystone Master Mount is a ground mount that not a lot of people are going to use in Dragonflight. Why, for instance, the new mounts that they are adding into the game, for instance, through the Primal Storm event and some other events, are ground mounts that again are nothing really special and nothing that players will actually be able to use. I would just like Blizzard to work a little bit more on customization for these 4 different drakes and just trying to make it a little bit more interesting when it comes to the different appearances and the way these different mounts look. Now, the second issue with Dragonriding is the fact that this system is so great, it kind of makes all the previous mounts from previous expansions completely irrelevant. I'm sure that many of you have experienced this feeling of suddenly being in the Dragon House using your Drake and being able to fly super fast with all these cool animations, and suddenly you want to go do something in Azeroth and you just use your stone. Suddenly you have to use your normal 310 flying mounts and you realize how slow it is. There is no specific animation and it just looks like all these different mounts are retired and it doesn't really feel like they are special anymore. So I feel that unfortunately, now that they introduced this great system, all the different mounts that you were able to get from previous expansions just feel very slow and just very lame in general. So while again, I fully agree that Dragonriding is a big improvement and definitely something that I hope will stay in the game, I also hope Blizzard is planning on working on something to make all these different mounts relevant again. Maybe they will be able at some point to offer Dragonriding abilities for all these different mounts, even if I can imagine it's going to require a lot of work because they need to work on all the different animations for all these different mounts. Or maybe what they could do is simply allow players to unlock a new speed for all these different flying mounts. Maybe now instead of 310 as the maximum speed you can use for your different flying mounts, players will be able to use 500 or 600. And like that, probably for some players, it will still feel like these mounts are great and you're not wasting your time just using them in the other expansions. And of course, finally, and for now, this is not something that is sure, but hopefully Blizzard will also at some point allow all these different mounts from Dragonflight to be used in previous expansions. So like that, people will still be able to enjoy Dragonriding, not only in the Dragon House. Finally, one of the key issues that I see, and this is really something Blizzard will have to think about, is the fact that this system is now something that Blizzard won't be able to remove after the end of this expansion, or to just limit to the Dragon House and then move on to something else. Now that players have experienced Dragonriding, and now that players see that they are able to travel with, again, great animations, super fast from one point to another, I really don't think that, for instance, if next expansion Blizzard announced that Dragonriding won't be coming back and it will only be in the Dragon House, I'm pretty sure that many players will be not so happy with this decision. So it means that Blizzard will have to keep this system if they want players to continue being happy. And again, it means that they need to find a way to make sure that all the previous mounts and all these different things you were able to do in previous expansions are now not irrelevant. Because again, as of right now, it really feels like, unfortunately, all these mounts that players have been able to accumulate over the years are really gonna feel completely useless, and hopefully this is not something that will actually be the case even after Dragonflight. So I really feel Blizzard has a lot of thinking to do, and I'm sure they are planning on adding way more customization and just to bring the mounts from previous expansions into this great system that is Dragonriding. But right now, in my opinion, Dragonriding is really lacking the diversity, and it's a huge threat, unfortunately, to all the different mounts we were able to collect in the past. So that being said, I still really enjoy Dragonriding, and I still really hope Blizzard will probably consider keeping it even after Dragonflight. Again, I just want to see these different issues getting fixed, and I just want to see a little bit more diversity to make it more interesting. But hopefully we will have more news in the coming month or in the coming patches with that, and we will be able to get more diversity with all these different appearances. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments what you think about Dragonriding, and if you agree with some of my takes or not. It's completely fine if you disagree, and if you think for now it's completely fine as it is. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos, and in the meantime, I wish you all a great Sunday. Bye!